Listen in, listen up. Whoop, whoop. Heather McDonald. Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I'm here with your favorite, Chris Franjola. And if you are watching this, hello, Chris.
Hi, nice to see you.
We are going to talk about another juicy cult documentary called The Way Down.
Yeah.
And I was inspired to put my hair and lips like the woman.
Yeah. I remember the frosted lipstick
Gwen.
era was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, the hair may fall a little, but... So I'm going to tell you about what this is all about. It is a Christian woman who discovered that she gained 14 pounds when she was in college. Okay?
Yeah.
She gained 40 pounds when she was in college, and she was a woman of God, and that's when she realized that our body is our temple, and God does not want us to succumb to the deity of the refrigerator. He wants us to love him, God, only.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we don't eat unless we hear our stomachs grumble.
Yeah.
And when they grumble, that is the Lord saying it's time to nourish. All food is God's food. Whether it's a chocolate bar or a piece of pizza, you can have it until you're full. You stop eating. Hand to the Lord God. People have lost 100 pounds, 80 pounds, 180 pounds. It's called The Way Down. I've written 5 books about it. And here we go. What do you think about this cult?
I watched it. It was great.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I watched the 1.5 episodes. I think there's 3 on HBO Max. And it's fascinating. It's that era where people, there was a lot of, I don't think it was like pre-internet, a lot of women.
Well, it was still going like the last 10 years. Yeah. Right when it starts out, she is no longer on this earth.
Yeah.
She and several people from the Remnant Fellowship Church died in a small plane crash in 2020. But right up until that point, the documentary was already underway. People were already, investigating it. And so what I found interesting, because I'm watching it, I'm like, was she ever married before? And then they just tell you, yes, she had a husband for 40 years.
Uh-huh.
So I think she was about 60 when she died.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah.
And she looked pretty cute before she started doing this weird hair and like skinniness. She got really skinny and gross with her lips and everything. And she had this husband for about 40 years. And he was not thin like God wanted him to be.
No.
So even though he actually had a degree and was a pastor and a degree in whatever you call it, divine deity, I don't know what you call it, like when you actually study to be a pastor. She took the center stage and he was not featured at all because it didn't go with what she was saying. He kept getting fatter.
Yeah.
And
so she got another husband.
Right. And what was interesting is that she taught like her preaching, which was unusual to have a woman in the South, because this was Tennessee or whatever, in these Christian type churches. It's always the men, patriarchal.
Right.
The way it is.
Yeah.
Is that she would tell these women, don't get divorced, even when your man is cheating, which according to the Bible, that's like the one reason they will bless your divorce is if there's adultery. But every other shitty thing he does to you, you're supposed to just stay married.
Right.
So she's like, even when we had proof, the people in the congregation, that our husbands were cheating, she would say, no, stay married, and everything. But then she got rid of her husband all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then met this guy. And I was like, please, Chris, tell me you saw the part about the actor husband who she marries.
I did, yeah. Well,
let's talk. Tell me what you thought of him. Joe.
Well,
his name was Joe.
Joe, yeah, who also died in the plane crash. I had read.
Yeah, he was with her.
But we went. I think both you and I came up through that era, that '90s acting class era, and that's every guy in acting class in Los
LA.
Angeles in the '90s. That guy, the hair, that look, cheesy. Whatever. He seemed to be from some money or something from San Diego, and his parents had money.
Yeah, it was kind of just an interesting life. Like, he grew up in San Diego. Then the real dad was rich. Then the mom married another rich guy.
Yeah.
So then he moved to Newport and had all that. Then he went and pursued acting and was living with like a 50-year-old rich woman who bought him a Harley Davidson. Yeah. And then there was this guy who was in acting class with him who seemed to be very attracted to him too at the time.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like, his perspective was pretty funny now because he was like,
I feel like all the people they got to interview for this documentary, they seemed like angry, heavy people who didn't work out. The one gal was like, obviously you're upset that it didn't work. And then that guy was, who I think he was just into that guy. So it wasn't, you didn't have to go far to get him to say bad things about anybody,
Listen, like everybody, I've gained some pounds.
Right.
Over COVID to the point where just some of my favorite clothes just don't fit. And I'm like, do I toss these clothes? Do I call it a day? I started to watch this and I'm like, I think I have to pray to God more. Because I'm like, this is true. I mean, all it is like portion control and like, but of course it gave people eating disorders. But what she was really saying is just like,
don't eat so much.
Don't eat so much. And when you're hungry, you're hungry. And when you're not, you're not. Basically, Bethany Frankel, her first book,
right,
which was the same stuff. If you wake up in the morning and all you want is a hot chocolate and some watermelon, that's what you have. If you wake up in the morning, you're not hungry, don't eat.
Right.
There's no rule that you have to eat 3 times a day. So it's like, it's basically, and then, same with the intermediate, I always say it wrong, intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Where you're supposed to start for like 12, 14 hours,
right.
18 hours, 22 hours. I don't know what it's supposed to be. That's the new thing too.
Yeah.
It's basically you just can't eat the way you want.
But the other thing was whether these people were overweight or not. She seemed to have a lot of problems with refrigerators. There's a lot of, I don't know if she was a problem with food or refrigeration because every videotape or book she had coming out was stay away from the refrigerator, get away from that refrigerator. And more troubling to me was not the fact that people were heavy, it was the era of the curl underneath in the front.
Yes.
And you know what I'm talking about? It was very heavily sprayed down and just curled under. I don't know what. I guess you used a curling iron or something to get it. And then up from there. So down and then up.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
So that was one hairdo.
Every
and then I don't know
person
what
had
made
that.
her think to do this hairdo. And then this Joe guy, so that's kind of interesting. So he was just someone who just never worked. Just at one point he just said, screw it after he got his one show as Tarzan on like a
Tarzan in
TV
Manhattan.
movie. I totally think I remember that movie. Like, why is Tarzan in Manhattan? Mm-hmm. So he was really good looking, very Fabio type of guy. And at one point he's just living in a trailer in Palmdale, which is a very not wealthy area. And and then all of a sudden he calls this girl that they dated and she's like, my biological clock was ticking. And I'm like, okay. So he sweet talks her. They have a baby.
Yeah.
I think they get married. And then this is really terrible. But then she's like, okay, he goes to Nashville and tries to become a country star. And I was like, Josh Wolf? Kidding.
He was, anything to just be famous or whatever. He was
now you go from acting. And by the way, I know a handful of people that tried to be actors. And then over the years, within the last 20 years, like my mom would be like, do you remember so-and-so's daughter? She was trying to do acting. I think she did one semester of the Groundlings or whatever. I'm like, what? Anyway, I ran into her mother at Ralph's. She's a country singer in Nashville. Like, I just feel like so many people kind of go.
It's the way to go.
Because it's not like, no offense, it's not like that difficult of singing. Like, it's a pretty much like second soprano kind of singing.
I know. It used to be a little more difficult, I believe. Now it's just about rhyming, sand and everything down the beach or on the beach.
Like,
and
I told my man, don't talk to me. If you want to walk, then, it's just like.
Yeah.
So I think they think that they can just go there. And this one girl I knew just went there. And I was like, oh my God, she's like really. And I was like thinking, I wasn't making it in stand-up. And I'm like, well, I'm a better singer than she is. Should I go to Nashville and try to be a country singer? Just anything to be famous?
Because I heard like the number one song on the country charts right now is something like Oreo shakes at Applebee's. And I'm not making that up. That's a real song. That's not a commercial for Applebee's. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, people listening to this, like, it's the number one. People love it.
Whenever I come across a country station, I get kind of wet. I kind of like it. It's always about a guy that, like, you walked into the bar and I saw you, and I just imagine being young and having, like, some country dude, just like wanting to just lay his life down for me, And then,
well, that's what it used to be. I feel
now but then I listen to it and I go, "Oh, you know how many girls he does this to?
Yeah,
whoever this country singer is,
right?
It wouldn't just work out for me. That he's just going to end all of his, suave ways just for the one girl that showed up in cowboy boots and a jean skirt, had her eyes, and she was a flirt."
Yeah.
Like, I just,
You and I will be performing together in Nashville.
Oh, God, what a plug.
At the City Winery.
November 20th. 2 shows. So they are selling really well. They'll probably be sold out after the show airs.
You could see many of those people there in Nashville.
Yeah.
The home of this woman.
I think Josh Wolf wants to come.
Okay. Yeah, bring him down.
Should we have him open to do a song?
Yeah.
We'll just be like other comedians that just bring out other people just cheering over and over. And then they're like, wait, we're 45 minutes into the show.
Nobody does stand-up anymore. Everyone does a lip sync song, a dance number. Then they bring out a couple celebrity friends. They wave at the crowd. And then it's over.
However,
good night, everybody.
Chris and I will be doing hardcore
real
we'll be
comedy.
Doing
hardcore
that'll make
real
you
show.
Laugh. So that the worst part is that this guy doesn't want to stop because she said there's going to be a timeline. Once, if you don't make it as a country singer, by the time our daughter turns 5, it's over and we move to Chicago. I don't think anybody should do this with an artist.
No, it's tough to make
I don't think you should put a timeline, like a TikTok, like what does that count? What constitutes if you've made it or not, Yeah. And so he freaks out, files for divorce, and claims that the wife has molested the 4-year-old daughter.
Oh,
and then
really?
just goes hard, just the meanest, fake, awful way. So then he meets her, and now everyone's dying. Like the people from acting class are like, this guy was not in the church, and he's like doing his stuff, talking to her, like when they get married, they have this big fancy wedding, and she's very thin. She's really praying to God to be thin. She's very thin, and she's got like a strapless dress on, and he's like, when the redemption comes down.
This is in their vows or
in
something.
Their vows. He's like, I will be in front of you. I have to go back and listen to it twice.
Yeah.
I will be in front of you. Just like, oh my God, praise to God. And they're just having so much fun. And, the God is the way. And love God. And I loved God so much. And we have such a good time together, Joe and I. And it's just amazing.
Couple of red flags with the guy.
Tell me.
First of all, He had a pet falcon. He was a falconer. And
now, when you do that, do you have to have like a brown glove on?
Yes, you need a lot of equipment. A lot comes along with it.
I thought falcon people are only people that walk around resorts so that the pelicans don't come and shit on the resort.
No, I believe there are people who it's a hobby. Falconing is some sort of hobby. And that guy was a falconer. And right there, you got to be like, all right, I'd rather have him be a country singer than a falconer.
So it's basically he's every awful thing.
Every awful thing.
He's an actor. He's a workout guy.
A shitty actor, a shitty country singer, a falconer.
And now a preacher.
And a guy who lives out in the desert, in a trailer. I mean, everything about it. But he was a handsome guy, so for that reason.
So when he had the first girlfriend from acting that picked him up from acting class, and she paid for him, and he cheated on her.
Yeah.
So, but he knew how to be a male gold digger from the beginning. So he obviously set his sights on her, and they were living in Nashville with his wife. So I'm sure we'll find out more because we're not finished with it. But I heard there's 3 episodes, and then you got to wait for the 2 final.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
In 2022.
Yeah.
So I want people to catch up, and then we'll finish. talking more. I'll talk more about it.
I'm actually excited to finish it because I was like 1.5 episodes in, and it was pretty good.
I have to say, every time I watch anything about a cult. And I was listening, I listened to this other podcast about Mother Teresa. Yeah. And basically that pretty much, I think, was a cult.
Mother Teresa?
Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
It was very similar in that she didn't want the nuns to get close to each other. And it was all about who loves Jesus. Her group was all about loving Jesus. Yeah. For some reason, this woman, it was all about God. She didn't care that much about Jesus. She's like, Jesus second tier. I'm talking God. And that caused a problem in the church because you're supposed to believe that they're all
the
in
Holy
one.
Trinity.
Yeah,
she didn't believe in the Holy Trinity.
And so no, the Mother Teresa liked the fame too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Everybody who gets involved in these situations. Like, yes. Every time I watch one of these things, and this one included, I just see, maybe I just grew up in a world where I don't believe anything. So that's not good either. But I just see so many red flags throughout the course of it. I'm like, how did they get that involved in this to the point where they were doing what they were doing in this when?
Do you ever worry?
Honestly, just her hair was enough for me to go, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yes. But do you ever worry? Because I worry about it for myself.
Okay.
Will I ever be seen as a cult leader of Juicy Scoop?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
I want to tell all my Juicy Scoopers, it's not my intention. I want you guys to find each other. Right. I want you to become friends with each other. I want you to listen to Chris Franjola.
Thank you.
I do not demand complete
and you'll never get to the point where you tell people to drink a certain drink or something. That's when you start getting
Chardonnay a little bit, I do.
Yeah.
But you're right. Every time I hear something, I was listening to something else about Jonestown.
Yeah.
And every time I hear about it, I go, oh, that's a little bit like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see people like calling you our queen and stuff, and my queen. I'm like, all right, that's a little bit much.
And then I get a couple of people that I'll be like, I'm so sorry I've sinned, forgive me. And I'm like, I will forgive you, my child. And I kind of go along with it.
We're in.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Yeah. But so far, I'm not in
and I'm
any
like
way.
I'm just one of the side guys who, is always in the background, just like hype men. Yeah, that's right. That's right. In a bad suit, 4 buttons.
Because there's a woman on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City who is a cult leader.
Oh.
She is this woman named Mary.
She admits it?
Yeah. No, she won't admit she's a cult leader. She started a church. What happened was her grandmother started a church.
Okay.
And the grandmother was married to a man that was a little bit younger than her. Like the grandma was maybe 70 and her husband was 50.
Right.
And before she died, she said, I want you to marry my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Mary. And then Mary's mother, who was in between the grandmother and her, was like, what the fuck? I want to marry my stepdad so I can inherit the church. But the grandmother said, no, it's my wish for my granddaughter to marry my husband.
Right.
So then Mary had to marry. And this is the way she looks. She looks like this. I'll take this off now. I'm moving on. She looks like this. She's like, and then I had to marry Robert Sr. And I really, I did not like that. She married him. She had 1 kid.
Yeah.
But then she inherited the church.
Oh, okay.
And she is a female pastor that wears all Louis Vuitton, Gucci, label-y stuff. And on the other episode, this past week, she came in there and she saw this other girl who's a housewife, and she goes, so there was someone in my church, and she shot out from, they got a car accident, shot out from the sunroof.
Okay.
And she landed in a neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
And, and the little girl goes, is she dead? And she goes, yeah, she's dead. But I'm happy to be here. What are we doing today? It was the weirdest moment.
Wow.
And so there are claims that Mary is, in fact, a cult leader because they have tapes of her screaming at her congregation that someone taped that's no longer there,
right?
Where she is shaming them, saying it was her birthday, Mary's birthday, and they did not give her enough money for her birthday.
Yeah, that's...
So she was calling out and saying God doesn't like cheap people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I agree with that one. I think a good hard rule on any of this is if you're getting into a cult or anything that's going to end badly, is if it begins at one point you're sitting in those folding aluminum chairs,
yes,
and they're lined up in some sort of church basement or a Sheraton convention room.
I'm gonna fix my face while you go.
And they have those folding aluminum chairs, and you're sitting in them, and somebody's about to speak. I think that never ends well. It's either somebody trying to rip you off, and I think it all has to do with those chairs. If you're sitting in those chairs, something about your life has gone wrong.
Well, I've had those other moments early in those same acting places where you might have been with Manhattan, Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan of Manhattan, sure.
I remember I went to this one acting thing where the lady goes, I'm going to get an Oscar by the time I'm 27.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm 25, so I got to get on it. And I remember thinking, there's no way you're getting an Oscar. Like, I believe in like positive thinking, but what the fuck is this? Like, yeah. And there were aluminum chairs.
Aluminum chairs. Yeah. Anytime you're sitting in an aluminum chair, I'm telling you, I know the exact chair. You know the chair I'm talking about. It's like a brown, like a beige. It folds out. It's aluminum. They line them up, and you sit in there, and then someone's about to speak.
Yeah.
And whatever they're speaking about, if you're sitting in that chair, is either going to end in you getting ripped off financially, spiritually, or you're going to get a timeshare.
Or you're going to have to sell some leggings.
Yeah, right. It's going to be something is not going to go well.
Yeah.
I believe. And I noticed it in this. I saw in the beginning.
It started aluminum chairs. That's the other thing. I thought you were going to say, if it starts in an aluminum chair and ends in the people like being much wealthier and you're still going, that's a sign too.
Right. I'll tell you, even like up to Anthony Robbins and all those things I watch with like even that. I'm always like, I don't know. I'm always weird about someone screaming from a stage and people listening. I mean, I guess in a way that's stand-up.
That's stand-up.
I know, but you know what I mean? It's just a guy with a headset, and I don't know. I just never get caught up in any of it.
Yeah. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God we're just stand-ups.
Yeah.
And no one should respect or believe anything we say.
I know. I mean, but you're a Catholic churcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what's like interesting is that what they were saying in the South, you believe this, like Jesus is everything, and it's always about recruiting people. And also they believe that only they are going to heaven.
Right.
And Catholicism doesn't teach that.
Yeah.
Catholicism's all about tolerance and everything. But I'm telling you, when I got into this Mother Teresa thing,
tolerance, a little bit.
No, right. But it's like, but it's weird. And so, and then also when I was like with this Mother Teresa thing, I was like, oh my God, like I do remember just her being the end all be all, and then when you really look into it, you're like, wow, these women were not treated right, and then even the women that were being the nuns that were helping the poor people, they felt like the way they were helping the poor people wasn't good. It was like for show. Let's only help the poorest of the poor, but they weren't helping the poor people like get out of being the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
It was all for like, oh, isn't it nice that they're helping the worst people? It just was,
Well,
so I'm probably gonna get some shit for Mother Teresa, but just
I'll have to watch it. I don't know.
No, that's a podcast. You have to look it up.
Oh,
okay. Speaking of weight loss, Whoopi Goldberg was on The View. As she always is.
I watched the clip.
And the clip is Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank is there, and they're talking about jeans or something, and jeans that you'd wear. And Whoopi Goldberg's like, I don't know, would it fit this? Would it fit this COVID? And the other co-host goes, would it fit this COVID? And then Barbara chimes in and goes, well, you could give me one pair of pants and I could make two of them for myself.
I know.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, I didn't get the joke, honestly.
Basically, she was saying, Whoopi, you're so fat that whatever you're wearing, I could get two out of for my tiny, cute body.
Did she say that, though? Did she say for me? I thought she said, I'll take those pants
and make
two pairs out of them.
Well, yes, but...
That meant for her?
Well,
I don't know.
What does it matter if it's for her or anybody else? She's basically saying, you are twice the size of me or of a normal person.
Okay, so that's what the joke was supposed to be. Okay. I just had...
So then she did her apology, which also got criticism.
Barbara Corcoran did?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear the apology.
The apology was this. I'll do it to the camera. Because she has like a little bit of a twitchy attitude, a little bit of an old lady shake. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk to everyone who is watching The View. I've been friends with Whoopi for so many years, and I made a joke about her clothing and that it could be two sizes, meaning I could make two out of it for me. I love Whoopi. We have a great go at each other, a sense of humor. And if I hurt anyone by saying that, it was not intentional. It was not my intention to hurt anybody about this particular joke. So then, of course, I know this from all the Housewives I've watched.
Yeah.
I've also know about because now I'm studying gaslighting.
Oh, yeah.
You are not supposed to apologize by saying, if I hurt you, I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's the biggest mistake when you get in trouble, Chris, for something you say.
Yeah.
That's
good to know.
So if I got caught on tape saying something that is derogatory of any kind of person.
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to do my apology.
Yeah, do your apology because it's going to have to come.
Do it to the camera. Okay.
Might as well just do it now.
Okay. Hi. On Monday, October 5th, or what are we on?
12th.
11th? I think.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
It's Indigenous People Day.
Yes. On Indigenous People Day, I did a podcast with my dear friend Chris Franjola. We were talking about a documentary called The Way Down, who, by the way, no pun intended, is produced by Chrissy Teigen. So congrats on that, girl. Really love your work. I want to also say I got into talking about Mother Teresa, and she is a saint. However, I questioned some of her intentions, and I also said she liked fame, much like Chrissy Teigen. And I want to say that was wrong of me. Now, I could say, if I hurt anybody with my podcast, I'm sorry. That's not how you apologize anymore. You say, that was wrong of me. That was inappropriate for me to say.
Right.
That caused people pain because I chose to use those words about Mother Teresa. I will also go to St. Mel and do 5 Hail Marys and 2 Our Fathers for penance.
That should do it.
Chris Franjola had nothing to do. He does not agree with how I feel about Mother Teresa, nor does my husband, Peter Tobias, or either of my kids.
Yeah.
That's how you have to do it.
That was pretty good.
Okay.
And I think I've mentioned this before on here. You also have to be very concerned about a level of makeup you're wearing.
I right now have
for
too
the
much.
Apology.
I think I have too much right now.
That looks like you've prepared it. You want to look like you're very distraught over this, and you got to go not necessarily sans makeup, but light makeup.
I like just a tinted moisturizer.
That's for an apology.
For an apology. Mascara, but you know what? Go with a brown mascara, not a black.
Oh, okay.
Definitely no fake eyelashes.
No.
No extreme contouring.
No.
And just a nice lip balm.
Yeah, just like
not a overly lined lip.
Yeah.
And do the hair straight. You can get a nice blowout, but it won't look like a blowout. You just have your girl do it straight.
That's great.
And this T-shirt's pretty good.
That is.
Just a simple T-shirt. Not anything of any kind of wealth, money, nothing.
Right. Perfect.
Yes.
I think we nailed it. Well, we're going to do about 9 more topics right now that we're going to have to apologize for. So glad that we did that up front.
Okay. Speaking of Christ, Erika Jayne posted this. And so it was her photo. And so somebody posted this and then sent it to her and she liked it. And so the fan posted that attorney Ronald Richards should be disbarred for unethical practice by slandering the pretty mess, that's Erika Jayne, for misconducts the courts never charged her for. Ronald, a lawyer, undermined the judicial system by making accusations and insinuations in hopes it will inspire public opinion to override the courts if it ever went to court. This behavior is dangerous and reckless for our society. So then she took that and reposted it, but added, Erika Jayne did, this is exactly how Christ died. So, did not like it. Then she started getting hate for Christ died. So then she had to post this again, another thing saying, for the ignorant ones, this is not a post comparing the pretty mess to Christ. It's comparing an unethical lawyer who is trying to undermine the judicial system by persuading the courts to act based on public opinion and not by the law, just like the Pharisees did to Christ. Well, now you've compared yourself to Christ again.
Again, right.
So now I'm going to do an apology as Erika Jayne.
Okay.
I can't believe I have to do this bullshit, but I'm going to do it once more. When I got that post from a very dear fan of mine, Matt Murray 47. Let me tell you something. I've been through the shit. Do I give 0 fucks? Once in a while, I do give one. And I'll tell you, I am Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and I do enjoy Mother Teresa. Christ got a lot of shit A lot of people didn't believe him. A lot of people didn't agree with what he did. He had a dear friend, much like a housewife, who betrayed him. That housewife was named Judas.
Real Housewives of
Jerusalem.
Babylon. Jerusalem, yeah.
So I can relate to Jesus Christ, our Savior, because Jesus Christ threw a gorgeous dinner party, okay? Had the whole glam squad there. And then Judas act like he was a friend and wasn't. So stab me in the back once, shame on you. Stab me in the back twice, and I come out with a new hit song. It's expensive to be me. So there you go. So that's how she's going to apologize.
Okay, that's good.
Kim Kardashian was on Saturday Night Live.
Hosting.
Everyone was very happy with it. A lot of positive vibes coming from the episode, so I watched it.
Yeah.
And mostly people talked about the monologue and then when she imitated her sister Courtney in The People's Court.
Yeah.
Those were the two best, I think. And then The Bachelorette was okay.
And then I saw one that was cut for time where she did a Costco. Did you see that one? Mm-hmm. They were a Costco singing group to try and get young people to come to Costco.
Oh, no. Is that funny?
And it was really funny.
Oh, but what do you mean it was cut for time?
I guess they...
Oh, they only put it on...
Yeah, and they put it online.
Oh.
So they do that sometimes on Saturday Night Live. They're like, this was cut for time. Here's another sketch. But
that's
we didn't
a good
have time
idea.
To air it, so.
Okay. So, I mean, look, I like that she and Chris and Courtney were totally game for anything the SNL writers gave her. In which I just think she did whatever. And the thing that made the monologue kind of is that she ripped on Corey, her mom's boyfriend. She said, "I'm not a gold digger. I wouldn't even know how to be, but if I did, I guess I would ask my mom's boyfriend." Yeah. So that was like something that hasn't really been like made fun of. She brought up her sex tape. Yeah. Said the only movie premiere I was ever part of. I'd never been to a movie premiere because the only movie I was in, we didn't know the premiere was coming or something like that.
I didn't ask my mom or something.
Yeah, I didn't ask my mom. So it kind of hinted that like
her mom
all these rumors that I've denied for 20 years probably are true. Yeah. Okay. And so that was like, okay. The only thing I was like a little bit surprised she agreed to were the OJ jokes. Mm-hmm. In which she's like, talked about the first black person I knew was OJ. Yeah. And he took a stab in the dark and like a couple little puns about OJ being, a murderer. Right. And that's how her dad, her dad represented him. Or right. I was like a little bit like, that was your mom's best friend who was murdered. Yeah. I was like, if I was in the room or if I was their friend, I would be like, I love that you're going there. I just don't know why you have to make light. I mean, I guess it's because I've interviewed Kim Goldman and stuff. I'm just like, I just don't know how to make light of it. But I'm sure I've made light of murderous things too. So sure. I shouldn't, as a comedian, I'm not criticizing them. Yeah. I think they threw a lot at her and she kind of went through and was like, okay, because they do have a good sense of humor. What did you think?
I thought she did actually. She delivered it great. She was fine. Yeah. I mean, she was as good as anyone else is on Saturday Night Live. A lot of times some of the actors and celebrities who host can be a little stiff. And I think I've always heard that they actually tell them to read the cue cards. Like, don't try to learn it word for word. Right. Read the cue cards. That's why a lot of times you'll see them just looking at the cue card and it looks a little amateur. But anyway, I thought she did a good job. Yeah. I watched the sketches and they were good.
No, they're solid jokes.
And I'll tell you who was terrible is anytime, I think Chris was in the one sketch.
Rock?
Jenner.
Oh, Kris Jenner, yeah.
And she was like a terrible. She was
really bad.
I've seen her in some sketches before, ones we've done with her.
But ours were never live.
I know, but
so we were able to do a bunch of takes. Yeah, that was bad.
And even in
the court
and Chloe
in the court one.
And Chloe was in it too, I think, right? And she's a little bad too. I think as far as
they're not actors.
I know.
And that's why I think some of their other shows haven't made it, because I don't think they realize how easy their life was. Right. When you're just eating a salad and looking at your phone. Mm-hmm. Even when Courtney had her cocktails with Courtney, I think she was like, oh, fuck, this is a lot more work than I thought. Yeah. Like kind of hosting a talk show type of situation is way harder than eating a salad and working out.
Right.
You know? So.
Yeah.
And knowing that it's, you could just tape forever and whatever they use and who cares. But I think they agreed to do it because they've moved to Hulu.
Yeah.
Which is just going to be the Kardashians on Hulu.
It's
not going to be different. I mean, it might look a little different, like aesthetically, but it's going to be the same shit.
Right.
And I don't think they're using anybody. They're not using the production company or anything from E.
Seacrest? Isn't he?
I don't think
he's out.
I think they're all out.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But
speaking of Seacrest, have you seen him lately?
What's going on with him?
Not that he just looks like more of an old man now. I feel like he's given up on being cutesy and just has decided I'm just going to be who I am. Well, and I like that about him. He's going to. I'm getting to something with this because have you seen the picture of Tom Cruise at the Giants game?
Oh, I was just going to talk about that, and I'm bummed that I don't have it on here because I did have the photo. If you want to pull up Tom Cruise at the Giants game, we can throw it up here.
Yeah.
And people said, "Who is this?" I thought it was just a Tom Cruise lookalike or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, here's the thing: people fucking age.
I know.
And also, he probably filled his face a little, and by filling your face instead of letting it just age, you can look weird then.
I thought it was interesting that he, first of all, let them film him, because they did show him on the Jumbotron and on the TV and put a chyron underneath saying Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So he obviously knew it was coming, or they must have asked him if they could do it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because I've never been to a baseball game, but the lighting it's not good. Evening baseball stadium lighting.
Yeah. Wait, here we go.
Doesn't help anybody.
Accept it right here.
There it is. But
okay, let's talk about this.
Okay.
So this is the picture of Tom Cruise, and it is a heavily filled face. That is all filled in the cheeks, around the mouth, and then also just aging. His hair is a little thinning, but it's dyed, so it probably should be pretty gray at this point.
Well, he's also, I think, nearly 60.
Age?
I think he's 58 or 57 or 58. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
We have to let these people age and not be mean about it.
59?
He's 59.
Wow.
Speaking of which...
I mean, the guy does look pretty good for 59.
Yeah.
Even in the bloated face picture.
Yeah.
But also, he's smiling and, people just... This is what I want to say about the actor who married that woman from the religious cult thing.
Yes, Joe.
See, if you're a single person, what you want to do is you want to get yourself in the 20s.
Yes.
You don't want a 10 in their 20s. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You want a 6 in their 20s. And then in their 40s, that 6 may, depending upon haircuts and workouts, may rise to a 7. But it's never going to drop below a 6. You're always going to be a 6. But the 10s, like that guy who became a falconer in the woods, they hit the wall hard, and as did he.
No, that guy still looked good, Joe, when he married her.
He looked odd. He looked weird, and I think that's what if you get a 10 at 22, you're going to wind up with a 4 at 60.
Well, here's the thing.
Or a weird looking 4. That's it. I'm standing by that. You seem to disagree with me.
No, I agree with you, but I was going to say, well, I think I might have been one of those people.
As far as what?
I don't know if I was that cute in my 20s. I think I was. I think I was pretty cute in my 20s.
And
I think I've maintained
it.
I think I've maintained a level of not the prettiest, but
that's what I'm
never
saying.
Really let myself get too
6.
ugly.
And I'm not saying you're 6, but I'm saying you need to. A 6 is where you need to shoot for. Don't shoot for your 10s.
But so this weekend, I follow this woman who is on Real Housewives of Melbourne, which I really haven't watched because every time I watched it with the accent, it felt like a parody. It felt like a Saturday Night Live parody.
Right.
But people love it. And I follow her. And she wrote this sad post where she's like, I have just had the hardest season. I guess the season's coming out. Filming with just these women just constantly bashing my age.
I did see that post.
And I was like, and so I wrote under there and I was like, I just feel like ageism is the last ism that we have not conquered.
I know.
And it's so dumb. Because
this right here it happens to him. It happens to Madonna. We'll talk about her in a second. Every time Madonna does anything, it's get this whole bitch off the screen. I'm like, I mean, she's 60. That's what happens.
I mean, you can say I don't appreciate her plastic surgery, but just to be like, and I get it too. Like if someone doesn't like me, they're like, you old white bitch. And I'm like, okay, well, those are two things I cannot change.
Right.
I cannot change the color of my skin. Yeah. I cannot change the year I was born. You can say you don't like my opinion. You can say I don't think you're funny. But
plastic surgery aside, which some people get, so they would get shit either way.
Right.
If Madonna just let herself become 62, she would have been, look at this old bitch.
Like I've seen these things like clickbaits, like it'll be Kate Jackson from Charlie's Angels. And they'll show her at Charlie's Angels and they'll go, click here, you won't believe what she looks like.
And she has not a stitch of plastic surgery.
I'm like, well, she's 70. Like, what should she look like she did in 1976?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, people? Like,
I know. It's crazy.
Or they're like about the Baywatch people. I'm like, yeah, Baywatch was in 1992.
30 years ago.
I mean, what do you want?
I know. You understand how life works. You really think
your ass, so good luck to you, people. Like, if you really think that, and then it's just like, I was with my girl who does my nails, and she's very cool. And she goes, she's only about 32 or something. And she goes, I was hanging out with some 24-year-olds. And this one girl, she just goes, I just think we need a 35-year-old woman president. That's it. They're the only one that get us. Yeah. No older. And she's like, well, what happens when that 35-year-old... I'm like, this is literally Logan's Run. And you have to be old to know what Logan's Run is about. But Logan's Run...
Which I always say, how they not have remade that movie yet.
Oh my God, it was so juicy.
And it's so... I think it's even more... It means more today than it did back then.
Logan's Run was a movie.
Michael York...
Farrah Fawcett's
in it for a split second.
And I watched it as a 6-year-old. It came out, I think, in 1976.
Yeah.
And it was the future. And you died when you turned 30. In a way where they could where you fly up in the sky and they kill the 30-year-olds.
And they say, renew, renew, renew. And you could have another life if you renewed. But then Michael York finds out that nobody's ever renewed. They all die at 35.
And you have this little thing on your hand, and once you get close to 30, it proves. And so Farrah Fawcett and the other guy are swimming in tunnels to get away to avoid being killed. And I just remember one time I was doing a show early in my stand-up days, and this guy, we did a show in Manhattan Beach. He goes, "What the hell is going on here? Is this fucking Logan's Run? Everyone looks like they're under 30, walking around." And I was like, so. I always say, look, I hope that you're alive and successful and living your life as fun as mine when you're my age. You're done. It's just so dumb, but.
Yes. As a matter of fact, somebody left a review of me on Juicy Scoop saying I have an old man laugh. I mean, that is. I can't stand his old man laugh. I'm ha, 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 ha. I mean, I don't know what an old man laugh is, but I guess I have one.
Drake does make fun of Dad being. Peter being old man sometimes.
Oh, I get it.
And I mean, it's there are just certain things where we're like, oh my God. But at least he laughs about it. But I'm like, no one wants to hear this. This is the explanation. Okay. When we go to a restaurant or any place and they're like, hand sanitizer. Okay.
Yeah.
So just offer me the hand sanitizer. I'm Peter.
Okay. Hand sanitizer?
Oh, I mean, I would love it. I love the smell of it, and I'm all about it. I'm vaccinated and everything, but I have this rash. I can't take the hand side. It's actually made it a rashy around my ring finger. I can't wear my ring either, which she doesn't like. But it's not really eczema. It actually gets inflamed now that I actually can't have any hot foods either. I used to love jalapenos, and then I went down to San Diego, and all of a sudden I could not have so between the hot food and the the woman is like, oh my God, I don't fucking.
Some 22-year-old host is like, what?
By that time, she's
Move on, old timer.
She's literally, no one's there. And we just die laughing.
Yeah.
It's the explanations for me.
I totally agree.
The unasked explanations.
Yeah. But things do happen, You thought all of a sudden your hands are not what they used to be.
You could take hand sanitizer. Now you can't.
I did a show the other night with an old comedian. Yeah. I don't want to say who it is, but he's an older comedian.
Yes.
And of course I get there and he's got a big gauze on his nose, on the front of his nose. Obviously he had something taken off.
Oh, the removal, that's a big sign.
And I'm like, well, first of all, you're out in public. Stay home for a couple of days before let that heal up. But he's like, I got to do 7 minutes at some shit comedy club in North Hollywood.
Okay.
And he goes up on stage, and the whole audience is like, what is... He doesn't reference it once. He goes, does his bit. Doesn't even mention the fact he's got giant gauze on his face. And I think the whole audience is like, nobody was laughing. That stuff wasn't funny. They're just like, is he ever going to mention that fucking thing on his face? But he didn't. And I was just like, that's another thing. When you're old, you just got to stay home when the bandages start coming out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I always feel about, like, you know, my anti-secret. I secret things I want, and then I anti-secret things I don't.
Right.
One being a boot. A boot on my leg.
Yes.
Because I see women around my age, cute, you know, they had fun. And they're wearing a boot with a scooter. And that says to me...
The knee-up scooter where you
and
I
see these women, a certain type of woman in a boot.
Yeah.
I know that you didn't have some tentacle thing that had to like, oh, this surgery I had to avoid because I'm a professional, you know, skier. No. This chick wore 2 high heels in Vegas, fucking drank too much.
Bachelorette party.
3 shards to the wind. But she has to be a certain age that she breaks her foot, okay? And now she's in the boot.
That's so funny.
I had one girl come to my Irvine show in a boot.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't tell my husband, but it happened. It was in Vegas, and I drank too much, and I was wearing 2 high heels.
Slipped on a patio in somebody's backyard.
Now you're scooting high. Like, So I try to avoid it. But here's the thing. Tom Cruise, let the filler fall. Let the filler fall, and don't do a facelift or anything. Just continue to work out and go the Clint Eastwood route. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You just have to adjust to this next phase. You're 60. So let's not have you dating 30-year-old love interests anymore.
Right.
Let's have you just be like a tough dad who's protecting his daughter who was kidnapped.
Yeah,
but
Liam
you're
Neeson.
60. Yeah, but you're 60.
Liam Neeson, every movie he does, he picks up the phone, and there's always some bad news on the other end. And I'm always like, just don't pick up the phone anymore. Every movie. What did you just do? Where is she? Get off this train.
I love that Caitlyn Jenner is a little bit Liam
Neeson. What? Get the fuck out of here. Could you imagine? You took my daughters?
That would be really funny. Caitlyn Jenner as Liam Neeson.
And they take Kendall. Oh, my God, let's make it.
We wrote a movie. So genius.
That is great.
Okay, let me get back to, hold on.
But remember when Tom Cruise was in a movie? It's a great movie with him and Jamie Foxx. Collateral, I think it's called. He plays like a hitman, and Jamie Foxx plays like a cab driver, picks him up at the airport and gets kind of caught up in his hitman. And in that movie, he's got gray hair, and he looks great.
I
was embarrassed when my mom took a ceramics class, and we had to display the ceramics around the house. I can imagine these girls must be mortified.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, my mom took a ceramics class.
And you and your brothers were like, why does mom think she's an artist?
But the other thing was, she wasn't making the ceramics. She was just painting them and putting them in the...
Oh,
so it was basically Color Me Mine before Color Me Mine. And she was like a child. We were like, did you make that? She's like, no, I just painted it. Like,
but was she proud of it? Did she think it was good?
I think at the time, yeah.
And you and your brothers were snickering behind her back, or
well,
in front of her face?
We weren't. We're snickering now. We were too young to snicker back then. But we look at old pictures now, and the background is filled with, sea captains. It was a lot of like nautical shit, steins, big steins.
Oh my God. Remember when I feel like that in the beginning of when George W. Bush started painting?
He started painting, yeah.
At first it was like completely paint by numbers.
Right.
Like it was not good.
Yeah.
But now people think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
wait, speaking of art, oh my God, I'm just like this. I'm passing around because I have these segues of things that I want to discuss.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden sold, that is the drug addict's son.
The troubled son.
That, oh my God. I mean, Joe Biden, this kid is so the prodigal son. Joe Biden's Catholic. This is his prodigal son.
Yeah.
And Hunter Biden sold 5 art prints for $75,000 each in New York. And there was some controversy about this. I'm not really sure, but do you understand it? Where that people were upset that somehow Joe Biden got to be involved or whatever.
From what I understand, that I could be wrong on this, I don't think I think there's legalities about profiting on the president on your name. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, but that's his name. What's he supposed to do?
But I'm saying I don't think. I don't know.
I guess people,
what I had heard.
I mean, let's be honest. People are spending $75,000 because they know that at one point it's going to be worth something. Just like if Kanye started to paint or whatever, which is like, why doesn't everyone just start painting then?
I know, if you're famous, just start painting.
Just start painting.
I mean, I think a lot of them do. I know Sylvester Stallone paints, and everybody, nothing.
Rosie O'Donnell had that whole. Remember, Rosie O'Donnell had that her whole art studio.
Yeah.
And then there were rumors that she wouldn't let her kids paint in there.
I think Jim Carrey, doesn't he paint too?
And I was always like, oh my God, you imagine having a whole art studio and little kids, and you're like, yeah, you're not allowed in. But yeah, I don't know but when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, he is like the ultimate dad. Like, he's always crying, calls him every night. And that, your little kid has an art thing. Just because you're president, you can't go and support it. Like, it's his kid painted. Like, he's going to be like, let's go. This is exciting. Let's celebrate him. Also, in the exciting world of reality meets politics, King Edmonds.
Okay.
Who was married to
Jim Edmonds.
Jim Edmonds. She was his third wife.
Yeah.
She was on Real Housewives of OC. They had a daughter and twin boys via in vitro, but she carried them. They got divorced because he started, the way I understand it, allegedly, whatever, started sleeping with a girl that was a 1 or 2 time threesome friend of theirs.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, you always said it back, even the early days. You used to say those threesomes are always a problem.
So he's engaged to that girl now, her former friend that she invited for a threesome.
Jim Edmonds is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she came out here. She started a podcast. I don't know where it is now. She had this boyfriend that was like into like hiking. They broke up. Mm-hmm. She's, a lot of stuff with her kids and her sons. All of a sudden, it was announced just this morning that over the weekend, Jill and Joe Biden went to, and I say it like that because he likes that you mentioned the wife first. Mm-hmm. So Jill's husband, Joe. And they went to his nephew's wedding, who is this guy, Cuff Owens, had a small wedding and married King Edmonds. And like, people are just very surprised because
that was fast.
Nobody, like, they just started to date. And so this is the connection. So Owens is 42. He's an LA-based attorney. He's the son of the president's sister and close advisor, Valerie Owens, and her husband, Jack. So it's Joe Biden's sister's son.
Oh, wow. So he runs in... So this girl.
So he's been out of the limelight, but he's an attorney and he's cute. And I mean, shit. Yeah. Now she's in the Biden world.
Good for her.
But her, what's interesting is that Jim Edmonds is not a Biden fan. And he posted this recently with his daughter, Anti-Biden Social Club.
Wow. We got
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jim Edmonds?
That's the back of Jim Edmonds with his daughter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there you go with that.
What do you...
where are we in time? 58 minutes. Okay, I'll do one more topic.
How do you feel about... first of all, have you watched the Chappelle special on Netflix? I feel like that is something...
Oh, let's talk about that. People want to talk about it. I have not watched it, but I watched the clip of the joke that's getting... so much controversy.
Which one is it? Because I watched the whole special. I thought it was funny, and
the joke that I think people are upset about is that he brought up that DaBaby was canceled.
Oh yes,
and that at one time DaBaby actually shot and killed someone.
Right.
And I don't know if he got off or it was self-defense or whatever, but the man definitely shot and killed someone.
Said it was self-defense.
Okay, but the man did shoot and kill someone.
Yeah.
So I'm paraphrasing the joke, but basically he was like, it's just interesting that in America or people are less upset about you actually shooting and killing someone than if you hurt a gay person's feelings. Right. Because DaBaby got on stage about a month or so ago and used some homophobic slurs on stage.
and was canceled for that reason. So
lost his deals, lost his collaborations, lost a bunch of like corporate type of deals.
Yeah. I believe it's a great joke. And I get what he's saying. And then I watched the special and
what's your opinion?
My opinion is the special's funny. I love, Dave Chappelle's fun to watch. He's got a good, I like the way he delivers his material. He's conversational. And it's, I'll say this. I'm, of course, not offended by it because I'm a comedian and I have to live a life. I can't really be. It's amazing to me that people are offended so much that, I don't know, don't you just watch the special and move on to the next thing? But I guess
not in this day and
I'm
age.
not LGBTQ, so I can't speak on this. But it's interesting. I don't understand why that is his main focus. Like, I feel like he's done like the last 3 specials. He's used the LGBT community as kind of like a big, like a, I don't know, his enemy
topic kind of.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's so many other things to talk about. It's interesting that you keep bringing this up. Which I'm not saying it's bad or good.
But I think that's where they're coming from.
Right.
Where LGBTQ people are saying, like, he is the most popular comedian in the world. Could he stop making light of the situation? Because trans people, are discriminated against, and more importantly, they're murdered. So it's like, come on, like, you're so talented, you're so funny.
Right.
Could you just do at least one special where this isn't a topic and made light of? You know, I think that's their argument.
And I get it. And I get that argument. But, I mean, he also doubled down the other night. He was playing the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not canceled. I won't be canceled. And I won't let these people stop me. I'll say whatever I want. And there is something comforting about that somebody just won't back down. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I think that's what's also kind of great.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? He's not going to be canceled because he's not. Netflix isn't all of a sudden going to take it off their.
Yeah. Well, that's what people want. They want Netflix to take it down.
And
the woman from one of the shows on Netflix said she's no longer going to work with Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a producer of a show called Dear White People, I believe, and she is trans. And she says, I'm done with working with Netflix.
So what do you mean? She's leaving her series?
Yeah, I guess. That's what
Can she move the series somewhere else?
I think the series might be in its final season anyway, but...
I wonder if you could have the power, like, if something like that happened in this day and age, to say, even though I signed 7 years with you, Netflix, because you've allowed this one joke in this one special...
There's a lot more than that joke, though. The entire last half hour of the special is all about LGBTQ. Not necessarily... jokes as hard as that one, but it ends with the whole thing about this one woman that he's referenced before, an LGBT person that he knows. You know
what? I'm going to go back and say, and this is going to be controversial. I'm probably going to do an apology right after.
Yeah,
okay, before we end the show.
We're going to have 4 apologies in this one.
But I think Dave Chappelle actually doing this, whether it upset you or not, whether maybe you're a parent or a loved one of a trans person, and watching this, you sat down to have a fun time and it actually really, upset you. I think, though, it's got everyone talking. Right. And I think it made people that might have not been as sensitive even more sensitive. And they might also still be Dave Chappelle fans. Right. And I think so, like, that's kind of what it is. And it's, you can say what you want and you don't have to watch it. You can leave the network. You don't have to. I mean, here's my thing. Yeah. We know a lot of gay people that enjoy Chick-fil-A. Right. Are you telling me that how hardcore are you going to get? Are we going to see that 10 million people have canceled their Netflix subscription? No. Yeah. Are even some of the people leading this going to cancel their Netflix? Because that means that would take something that they enjoy from themselves. Right. So it's like giving up chocolate for Lent. Yeah. Like, are you going to do it? Like, if you really are going to walk the walk and you're really that, whose fault it is? Because they chose not to go to Dave and say, we insist that you cut this part. Right. I'm sure he has something in his deal saying, you can't tell me that. Yeah, of course. So okay, we got to risk that 10 million people are going to leave Netflix.
Yeah.
But they're not.
No.
But at least we're talking about it and letting people know that,
yeah,
this is a part of our population and our community that need to be, protected in a way. And people were upset by this.
There's some pretty good laughs in it as well. I mean, ultimately it is a comedy special, and I think everyone.
And I say this all the time: do not go to stand-up comedy nor watch comedy specials if you are triggered or a sensitive person.
Right.
Know that about yourself. Look, I don't want to watch Halloween 82 or whatever it is.
Oh, the new Halloween movie.
Like the stabbing and. I don't like watching it, okay? So
Jamie Lee Curtis, there's a woman who let herself get old. She looks older.
And killer and great and love her. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm okay seeing old people. I'm not okay seeing cutting, whatever. So, I wouldn't go see that. So if you're someone that's going to have anxiety and get upset because you watched something that was so insensitive and so inappropriate for today, do not go to comedy shows.
Right.
Do not click on something to watch it. You have to choose to watch it. Mm-hmm. It's not like all of a sudden screens just come down in your bedroom and you can't turn it off and your eyes are taped behind your head.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm going to apologize before the end of the show.
And another apology?
I have to do apologies for what I just talked about.
Yeah, the LGBT. This is to who? The LGBT community or Dave Chappelle or whomever?
I don't think Dave cares.
No, Dave doesn't.
I don't have to do an apology to Dave. Hi, I talked about a very sensitive subject with my friend Chris Franjola on October 11th, which aired on October 12th, 2021.
After this apology, can you do an apology to me for bringing me into this apology? Thank you.
I tried to discuss something that I've been afraid to discuss. I chose to discuss it. In discussing it, people driving in their cars, probably 6 to 7 people, didn't enjoy what I said.
Yeah.
For that, I'm truly sorry. Oh, I can't say I didn't mean to hurt you.
No, this is tough.
My words hurt people's ears. It went in their head, and it triggered a feeling of not joy.
Right.
And for that, I am sorry. I also want to apologize for bringing Chris Franjola in it.
Thank you.
He wishes he had the strength to stop coming on Juicy Scoop, but he does not because he needs the Juicy Scoopers.
I need it. I don't have much.
To listen to his podcast cover to cover and go to his stand-up shows.
Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, he's not independently wealthy.
No.
And he's not Dave Chappelle. Mm-mm. And he does not have a Netflix special.
And my wife works there.
Even with his wife working there.
I got nothing.
Chris Franjola, nor I, currently have a Netflix special.
Right.
And for that, for the people that do love us, we are sorry that you can't enjoy us on a Netflix special.
I'm going to say something that might even be more controversial.
Do you want to apologize to the camera?
I'll do my best to apologize after.
Okay, yes.
But I will say this, and I don't mean to be insensitive toward anybody who feels that they've been slighted by anybody. And I know for me to say these things doesn't make it, because I know people struggle. LGBT people, gay people, black people, everybody has a struggle to deal with. However, I do believe that sometimes if you're trying to be more accepted in life, being lampooned in a certain way is an accepting of them too. You know what I mean? Like being part of the joke is also a way of being accepted.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yes.
So I know
if you can laugh at yourself.
I know it hurts now.
Like full circle, like the Kardashians laughing at themselves.
And I'm not.
Releases the power of the person making the joke.
Right.
Yes.
I know there's much worse things happening in these communities than that. But in a way, it does help to get yourself out there and be more accepted by everybody. I'm talking the idiots of the world, to know that, oh, okay, we could have jokes about it. We could do this about it. Everything, and I just think it helps a little bit.
On that note, Chris, everyone follow.
Dear America, I'm sorry for what I just said.
And I'm sorry also. This is a non-political show, and I did mention Joe Biden's nephew because he married a real housewife.
Right.
And I also mentioned Hunter Biden because I got into painting.
Yeah.
And I want to apologize for that.
That is a good apology.
And I'm not supporting anything, but I am happy that King Edmonds found a nice husband. Or maybe he's not nice. I don't know.
Right.
But he seems like he's nice, and he's an attorney, and he can help with her stuff. Anyway.
I'd like to apologize for saying that you should get a 4 on this level from 1 to 10, a 4 in their 20s, and then they'll remain a 4 into their 50s. Okay. I'd like to apologize for that.
For
anybody's a 4.
Or anybody that's under a 6, you offended.
I offended anybody who's, not attractive. My apologies.
Yes. So anyway, everybody, you are coming to see us. Chris and I will be, and there is, I think, only one show left, the new added show.
New York City.
Which is November 5th, we added a second show, Friday, November 5th. And
Chris, you guys said, Chris, buy your plane ticket. Get your plane ticket. So I went and I got my plane ticket.
And then Peter said, "Oh, I already bought Chris's plane ticket."
So I had to cancel my plane ticket, and it was a bit of an ordeal.
Oh, jeez, I'm sorry.
I did it, but I don't
blame Peter because
I always get the ticket that's a little cheaper because you don't have to. But you can't cancel this ticket. It's a little cheaper, so I get that one because I'm not going to cancel my ticket. And then they're like, "Well, what happened here?" So, but I did work it out. I just moved it over to Nashville.
Oh, well, then that's why. That's not a problem.
I had to get on the phone with people.
November 20th. Both those shows, it's a 2-show in the night. Both are selling really well. So those will sell out probably pretty soon. And then, what?
Yeah, you're supposed to say New York.
I did say that. You weren't listening again, Peter. Just rolled in here. Look at his sensitive hand. Look, see, no wedding ring. Because all of the sanitizer from the year and a half of COVID has ruined his little paws.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And then, Chris, what other shows do you have that you need Juicy Scoopers to come to?
I got Chicago. Zanies in Chicago, December 13th and 14th. That's a Monday and a Tuesday. One show 8 o'clock. One show 8 o'clock. Two shows out the door. That's my new life. At one show and done. I can't do 10:30 shows anymore.
Well, I am, but my shows are at 9:30, the second show.
9:30 is good.
And they're tight and right, and Chris and I actually do real material. We don't just dance around.
We're not bringing out famous people and just pointing at them. And
right.
Go, look, this is my new boyfriend or girlfriend. Look at them.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? I know we're not supposed to say the names of the people we're talking about.
Yeah.
Are you getting nervous?
No, I'm not. I'm not. No.
But they just point at them and go, "Remember that person that we're now dating?"
Yes.
And then they do it over and over and over again on social media.
Exactly.
And then they bring them out on stage.
Yeah, it's very much like
they go
Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly on the cover of GQ. He's wearing thigh-high boots and like a big blazer like Kim Kardashian. He's basically wearing Kim Kardashian's outfit, and she's looking great, and she's got a gun at his dick.
Yeah.
And so, again, a lot of controversial stuff, but hey, people know about them. They know about Courtney and Travis. And, whatever. Again, Pether has never taken off.
No.
Pether going 21 years strong. Peter and Heather forever. Pether 21 years strong.
Do you know why it is, though? No controversy. You guys don't do anything controversial. If you
Peter getting some thigh-high leather boots, and I can... We don't own guns, but I could get a fake gun and put one up against his dick.
Yeah, do that.
And then,
like if you recreated this cover or something like that. Or...
We're doing that.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to try to do that.
Like
that would be amazing. That's amazing.
You need some sort of controversy.
I got it. Okay, Chris. Everyone, check out his
cover
stuff.
Cover. Wait, say the name of. There's some sort of.
What is?
Podcast.
Did we find out what we're supposed to people to vote for us?
Some sort of podcast contest.
I'm in the contest for best comedy interview. We're gonna. I'm gonna find it out. I'm gonna announce it for Thursday's show.
Yeah.
I have more topics with Chris that I'm gonna cover on Thursday's show. So we're going to take a water break, and you're going to take a 2-day break. And then you guys are going to come back and listen to this. Okay, here we go. Bye-bye.